There we go. Bradley, did I see that you started over on your sweater?
I did.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I measured my gauge
Mhm.
and I think I started off using the wrong needle size because I was getting 12 stitches per inching.
You broke up a little bit there. You're getting 12 is all I heard. I think.
Okay. I'm gonna join on my desktop. That's not too good.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's kind of breaking up, unfortunately. And I am not in a good place for light, but I'm struggling to find any place I can do this. I'm visiting a friend in South Carolina who just moved this week, and we're surrounded by boxes, as you can see here. So I'm sitting on the floor with my computer on a box. Best I can do here.
That's dedication.
Well, I just love meeting with you all. So I guess those of you who were in Suzanne's knit along, this was the final one along with me today. And I announced, as I announced on Ravelry right before that, that we now have 2 new necklines available on the website. And if you have purchased a crew neck sweater, you can switch between the crew neck and those 2 necklines to see which one you might want to work. And you can switch back and forth. I am going to allow that for some period of time. I'm not sure quite how long yet. But in that knit along with Suzanne, I learned that a lot of women preferred a deeper crew neck than the original pattern presented. So I have provided 2 new necklines that are basically deeper crew necks. One's called the round neck, and it will be about 3.5 inches deep. And then there's a scoop neck that is 5 inches deep. The crew neck, the original crew neck, tends to be around anywhere from 2 to 3 inches in depth. And that's fine for a man. It fits like a t-shirt, like the one I've got on. It's right up to my neck. But I learned that women prefer to have a little more space there. So it was quite a bit of work to produce these 2 new necklines. And we had 3 test knitters, and 2 of them are online here. One's Kay Baker and Cindy Dupont. And we're very grateful to them. They test knitted this new technique. And also Inbal Gross, who's not with us because she comes in from Israel, and she said it's just too late for her.
Hi, Kay.
Hi, Kay.
Hi.
After the session of Suzanne Frank, I just went to compare the normal crew neck that I downloaded last week, and the new now is the round neck that is a little bit longer. Is only the difference is the number of increased rows in the front, right?
Well, the difference is the crew neck finishes the neckline before the sleeve cap starts.
Okay.
So you don't do 2 things simultaneously. But the round neck is just a little deeper, but you have to be able to start the sleeve caps before you have finished the neckline. And some people have trouble with doing those 2 things at the same time.
Okay.
But it's the original crew neck tends to be anywhere from 2 to 3 inches, and the new deeper crew neck tends to be 3 1/4 to 3 3/4.
Yeah, I think I go to prefer that one.
And then the scoop neck is about 5 inches deep.
No, this is too long, but the other one, I think I go to try to, I was just print in order to compare exactly
Yes,
the front, because I think it's the front only, that part, yeah.
but you don't get those options if you chose the saddle shoulder. I didn't modify the
Yeah,
saddle
yeah.
shoulder. The saddle shoulder is already just about the same depth as the deeper crew neck.
Okay, yeah, this is exactly what I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Because that one that I was starting was a little bit, this one that I was starting this afternoon, as I show, is a little bit too short here. So
Uh-huh.
the round one will be the right size. In fact, I stop on the right point this time for the third time. Okay.
Well, you won't have any trouble with it because you've already done the saddle shoulder, which
Yeah.
also has, sleeve cap shaping at the same time as the
Yeah.
neckline
Yeah, yeah.
closing. But people do have trouble with doing 2 different sections of a pattern at the same time, row by row, where each row is taking up one thing from
Mhm.
one line from each of the 2 sections.
Okay,
So
thank
I
you.
see Rana's hand is up and someone else I can't see, but let me remove yours and ask Rana. What would you like to tell us, Rana?
I'm so excited. My printer is going crazy. On my pattern, the round neck came out to be 3.75 in depth,
Okay,
and on the scoop neck, it's 4.875.
okay, that's 4 7/8. So that's real close to
Right.
5.
My question is, what is the depth of a V-neck sweater?
Well, for that, I would have to enter your neck size and your gauge to know exactly. But of all the ones I have done, looked at for myself, they all range around 5 inches deep.
So it's about the same as a scoop neck.
Yes, except it's a V-neck. It's not rounded
Right.
on the bottom.
Right. Yeah, I was just talking about the depth.
Yes. So the depth is just about the same.
Yeah. Thank you so much for all your hard work. I know it was a great deal of time.
It was, and it was a lot of work, but I just love doing it. Programming has been my lifelong love, and now knitting is another deep love, and it combines the 2 together, and I'm just in heaven and in my so-called retirement.
It's kind of like a big puzzle, isn't it?
It is, yes, both of them are. And writing a pattern is really very much like programming a computer. You're writing a special code that only certain people can understand, and every detail has to be right, and you can't just fudge or do abstract on anything. Everything is exactly precise, and they're very similar in their
Right.
approach.
The
So let's go to
interpretation.
Bradley and see what she has her hand up for. You have
Yeah.
a better connection now, Bradley?
Yes, I tried my iPad. I thought it would work. So I could sit downstairs where there's a lot more natural light. So I'm back up in my office with my desktop. So not my normal knitting place, but that's okay.
I see.
I just wanted to tell you, I did start my V-neck sweater over. I found out that when I measured my sweater, my gauge was completely off. I was getting 12 stitches for 4 inches instead of 15.
I see.
And I don't really know what happened on that. So I swatched again, and I'm still getting 15 with a size 10 this time, size 10 needle. So
15 stitches to 4 inches
to 4 inches. Mm-hmm.
with a size 10 needle.
Mm-hmm.
That seems really tight for such a large needle.
That's about what I would get with a size 10 needle on that yarn, because I knit like I'm putting on a tourniquet.
I was gonna say, if you're a thrower, you'll naturally knit more tightly.
I knit continental. And so, well, I do wonder what's going to happen. I don't know if maybe when I'm swatching, I knit tighter than when I'm knitting. I don't know. So
are you swatching in the round or are you swatching flat?
I am swatching flat, but
Since
I
the
can't
sweater-
imagine it would be that much different.
For some people, it's quite different, but I don't know if it's real different.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I got it backwards. You're right. A size 10 needle gives you, I am so tired. I was thinking it would give you a higher number. It gives you a lower number. So 15 probably, as Ron says, 15 probably is right. Or 4.
So I started it again today and I'll just see how it goes, I think. And then I measured against an existing sweater and I think I'm going to go with the standard fit.
Okay.
And I think it'll be just fine.
Did you purchase a new pattern? Because I can just change your gauge if you want to use a different gauge and see if the pattern at a different gauge.
Well, I hate for you to do that. You've already adjusted it once. And I like the size, I like the fabric with the size 10 needle.
Okay.
So I'll just go with that.
Okay.
And keep an eye on it. I'll just have to keep an eye on my gauge as I go.
Yes. So let's go to Kathy.
Hi, I had to start my V-neck over also. And it was because I was very dissatisfied. I had this idea in my mind about how I wanted the fabric to look, and the yarn just wasn't cooperating and the tension was not good. So I'm using smaller needles now, and but I have a question about the V-neck. When you're casting on the stitches for the side of the V-neck, which type of increase did you recommend?
Does the pattern not say?
No, it just, because you were talking about the slip lifted increase versus the lifted increase versus a regular. It says make one right, make one left, but it doesn't.
Yeah, so it was a make one.
That is a type of increase that I
Yes,
use.
right.
I
But
always use a make one left and a make one right. But now that I know about this slip lifted increase, I might use that the next time I do a V-neck. So it really doesn't matter. You really just have to have an increase, and you want to choose one that you think gives the look that you want to see around your neck.
yeah, because I was wondering what Summer did, and I really like what he did. And but I did a lifted increase, not a slip lifted increase the first time.
Yeah.
And I felt like it drew up a little bit, and that's why I was kind of asking. So I think I'll just go with the regular make one right and make one left.
Yeah, you're right. It might do that. It might pull it up a bit because it is, and the slip lifted might pull it up even more. I don't know.
Even more.
I can show you my V-neck with lifted increases. That's what I've used.
That's what you used? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, but also mine is in reverse stockinette, so it looks quite different on the main side, but I can show you the inside.
Okay. Oh, I see it.
That's nice.
Well, I think that's pretty much what mine looked like too.
You're muted all of a sudden.
The fabric didn't tighten up that much for me, no tighter than I would expect from something with that many increases in it regardless.
Yeah.
And it was the most attractive looking on the pearl side.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked the way it looked doing a lifted increase. Maybe I'll just experiment a little. I mean, I already ripped out a whole bunch of sweater, start over again. So
was it too high? Not a deep enough V-neck? Is that what the problem was?
No, it was fine that way. It was just my tension was terrible. it wasn't actually guttering or anything like that. It was just the way I was using too large of a needle, and I couldn't keep the tension proper. Like I'd go out and garden and I'd come in and it looked one way, and then I'd do something else and it would look another way. So no, just didn't like it. So and it's interesting because I thought, well, I'll just try using a size 5 and really watch my gauge or watch my tension. And it still came out more bumpily. And then I switched to a size 4 and it's totally flowed.
Oh, but that changes your gauge.
Yeah, I'd redo it.
You're going to redo the pattern.
I ripped out the entire sweater and I'm starting over. Yep.
But your gauge is different, so you need a new pattern.
Yeah, well, I will get a new pattern, but I was doing it with KnitWiz also.
I see.
Do the shaping and everything.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, good.
But to compare, I will do another Phrancko pattern too.
That would be good. Let me know.
Yeah, Frank, the V-neck that I did, that's in Ravelry, that Plum Perfect Phrancko.
Just a minute, let me see if I can find
Sorry.
you, Cindy. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Frank. The V-neck that I did, it's in Ravelry, the Plum Perfect V-neck for Phrancko, and it is. I used just the make one left and make one right, and it did really nicely for the increases.
I see.
So just it was what you had specified in the pattern.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was wondering.
I always enjoyed that one, and I haven't done many V-necks. I think I've done 2 that I published, and I used that same increase in both of them.
Yeah, I like the nice clean look, and I did do a ribbing neckline neckband with it, and that looked it came out really nice.
Good. I'm glad.
Real quick, do you want to see the round neckline?
Yes, show us the round neckline. Cindy test knitted the round neckline, which is the deeper crew neck.
It's not blocked, but that's how deep it is.
Very
And it
nice.
has the little thin edge that is specified, the new one that he specified. So it's just, it's you pick it up, you do 2 rows of purl, and then bind off in purl.
It's nice.
For the
Very pretty.
Yeah, it's coming along. It's getting bigger. I'm past the sleeves, so I'm going quicker.
And then you can just knit.
I know, this is it. It's like, okay, we went to the local yarn store tour is happening, started just this week. And so we were going today and had to buy some yarn. And I'm like, oh good, it's car knitting now. I can just use it in the car too.
Right. Rana, I see your hand is up. You're muted and we can't hear you. There you go.
Darn. I thought I put it down. I'm sorry.
Oh, you thought your hand went down. I'll lower it for you. I just found out I can lower your hand. So
Good.
now I can take care of that and not keep calling on people twice like I just did.
Thank you.
I did want to tell Cindy thank you for her spreadsheet idea. I used that on my V-neck sweater and that helped a lot.
It does help to keep track of what you're doing.
I don't know why I never thought of that before. I love spreadsheets.
I do too. I do too.
And I never thought of using it for my knitting.
Yeah, Cindy's spreadsheet is amazing, a lifesaver, and made everything a breeze.
Oh, I'm glad it helped, Kay.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah, doing the things simultaneously is kind of like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. I felt like it is. You have to kind of think, it's like, oh, I do that, I have to still do this when I get over to this spot.
Yeah.
And it's all written out in the pattern really clearly, but you have to follow along with it.
So does anybody have any work they'd like to show us?
I do.
Who said that?
Diane,
Diane, hi.
I, I finished the sweater.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it. I can hardly wait to start the next one.
That's great.
Beautiful.
Show us the neck. What's the neck?
It's just a crew neck. It's,
Uh-huh.
it's just, it was
Oh, it
just for
looks
my husband.
great.
Yeah, it's
Did
just
you
for my
use
husband.
Did you use the bind off that's in the pattern?
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that nice?
I love it. I'll use that for everything from now on.
That's what I decided. When I first saw it, I said, I am not going to do that. That's too tedious and laborious. And then I tried it and I said, oh, this is beautiful. And I've never done anything different since, even around
Yeah.
the waist where you have to have a thread that's a mile long to make it all the way around. But
Can you,
it's worth it.
can you only use it in a ribbing though? Like if
It
you're
is for ribbing, yeah.
just for ribbing. Yeah.
I think there are ways to modify it to use for other types, but I don't know. Maybe Ron could tell us.
Yeah, you see it, there is a modification for doing it in two-tube ribbing, and many people use it to finish off their brioche, which is ribbing like. And I was kind of biased against it from the beginning because I actually don't like the way it looks with brioche. I find that, like, I had a brioche sample in my shop for a long time, knit by a very, very excellent knitter. But it's still just like the way the structure of brioche works. So when it was called for in the pattern, I was like, I don't know, because I didn't like that in that scarf.
Oh,
But it looks great in 1-1 ribbing. So there you go. You can also use it as a bind off to finish off double knitting.
I was just going to say that. It works great for double knitting. It looks like the two sides just
For a
fit together.
top down
Yeah.
toe, you can just slip them. For some people, it could be easier to work than a regular Kitchener. But I know I've had some, when I taught a brioche class, I taught that bind off. And I know some people with bad wrists had a sort of achy time when you come around the back. But yeah, I'm a convert now. I don't love it for brioche. I love it for ribbing.
Diane, this is Rana. Could you hold up your sweater once more, please?
Sure.
Oh, that is so gorgeous.
Lower it just a bit so we can see the shoulders too.
Oh yes, and that's another thing. I was very worried about that, but you were right. And once it was blocked and everything, it fit fine in the
Oh,
shoulders.
good. You thought
Yeah.
they were too narrow.
Yeah, yeah.
Then Cindy told you every sweater she started, she thought was too narrow. And I breathed a sigh of relief at that point because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, looking at it at first, you always think it's like, oh no, this is not. And then it's like, no, yeah, it fits perfect, like a
Yeah.
glove. It's
Yeah.
great.
Love your
Wow.
colors too.
Oh,
I
thank
do
you.
too. That's really terrific.
And unfortunately, I didn't know how much yarn to buy because I guess I have a problem with my gauge. I'm
Oh.
working very hard to try to change my tension. So I took a guess, but anyway, I have enough left over. I'm making your toque, Frank.
You're making what?
That your toque, that's your toque pattern with the stripes,
Toque.
a hat. It's in
Oh,
here.
my
I got
hat. Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Didn't know the word toque.
so,
Oh, you're
sorry.
doing
Maybe,
the
maybe that's
what
maybe
is it?
that's a
The
Canadian word.
Fibonacci striped hat. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
Sorry.
Toque
has a
is
matching
definitely a
hat now.
Canadian word, yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, my tension, I think I don't know if I'm too loose or too tight or whatever, but I know you mentioned before that you couldn't give me an estimate of how much yarn because of my tension
Oh, really?
or my gauge or whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your gauge. Oh, it's usually because the row gauge and stitch gauge are outside the normal range, the ratio of the two. Is that
Oh,
what it was?
I'm not sure.
Because your stitch width doesn't look abnormal to me.
Oh, good.
So, but if the pattern couldn't generate actual yardage, it's usually because the gauge,
Is wrong.
the ratio, it has to be within a certain range of ratio of row to stitch gauge.
Okay. Because I think I had 17 stitches to believe it was 28 rows or something like that.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I don't know. I can't remember offhand.
Yeah,
but
I would
that-
usually do like 22 to 28. So 17 to 28 is,
It would be. Anyway, I'm practicing knitting on the tips of my needles, like Suzanne says, and it's a lot tighter.
oh, good. Yes.
I don't
And
know
it'll
if
be a
that'll
lot
work.
more
or not.
consistent too.
Yeah,
You probably not have stitches varying in size across.
actually, I'm pretty pleased with the sweater anyway.
Yes, I just calculated the gauge, the ratio. Yours, if you gave me the right numbers, 17 and 28, the ratio is 1.6, 1.65, and a more normal one would be 1.25.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember the exact range that it accepts, but if it's outside that range, I don't have any way of knowing how much yardage it takes to make one stitch. And that's what I actually have to do. I have to calculate how many stitches there are in the sweater, essentially. And then based on the size of a stitch, I was able to calculate how many yards that would be. So anyway, I just don't have the data to do all the different ranges.
Oh, that's okay. I figured it would. I figured the rows aren't quite as important as the width.
Well, no, it is. It would still work. It just can't tell you how much yarn to buy.
Oh,
That's the only difference.
yeah.
It can. We now tell you the square inches though, and you can actually calculate the number of skeins to buy by knitting a swatch and measuring how much yarn it took to create that swatch, or measure the weight of the yarn that it took to create that swatch.
Oh,
If you
okay.
say knit a 5 by 5 inch swatch, okay, and knit a 5 by 5 inch swatch, weigh it on a gram scale. Say it's 5 grams, and then you do your sweater pattern. It will tell you how many square inches your sweater is, even if it can't tell you the actual yardage. It will tell you the square inches. You then can use 5 inch. If it was 5 grams for 5 by 5, I don't know. I can't do the calculation, but anyway, it would.
Yeah,
You can use those
I
numbers to
understand.
calculate the yardage.
Oh, is that on? Because I bought this pattern before you made any changes. Is that?
That was a later change. You probably,
Oh,
if
okay.
you download it again, you'll find that it now
I'll
has.
get it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I wanted to, this is Kathy, by the way, and I wanted to pitch in too about, working on your gauge and tension and stuff. I can't remember who it is that mentioned Arne and Carlos last week, but I've watched their videos from others for double knitting and other things, but they have something on just Norwegian knitting. So I thought, well, I'll watch that and see what they do. And it turns out I even held my yarn the same way, and it was very close to what I already did. And all I had to do was bring my left forefinger down just a little bit more, and then my gauge got much, much more consistent. So I was really surprised, but that did help me. I don't know if it'll help you, but.
So it's just little things.
It was just a
Little
tiny
things.
little change, and that and coming down one size in the needles, so that because I guess because it was well, it says it's a fingering weight yarn, but it really knits up like a sport weight yarn, so it's thinner than a normal sweater yarn. And usually I never have any trouble with my gauge, that way, but this time I did, or my tension, and this time I did. And so I just thought, well, I'll go down one size in needles and see. And then it just flowed. That and the change in the needles, change in the way I held my finger. So, yeah.
I will share with you the secret that made all the difference to me, and it may help some of you. It may not be your problem at all. But anyway, and I don't have a way of showing you my hands except by holding up the yarn like this. But let me try and just say, what I was doing when I knitted, I would put the needle through and I would put it all the way out, and I would wrap the barrel of the needle. I would wrap the barrel. And then I thought that was measuring the amount of yarn. Then I would pull it through and off. But I learned that if you just wrap the tip like that, see, I just went around can you see that? I just go around the tip, not where it's the full width of the barrel. And then it actually gets measured when you push it down onto the barrel as you pull it off. And that little difference corrected my tension problem, which was varying sizes of stitches. I didn't have a problem with knit stitches being different than purl stitches. And gutters all the way across. I had a problem with gutters showing up for an inch here and 2 inches there and 3 inches there, and they were just kind of scattered all around. And that meant that I just was randomly knitting different sizes.
That's how mine was too. Yeah.
And that's what fixed I just found out if I wrapped the tips instead of the barrels, it would make a difference.
I think Arne described that as like, think of it as the needle, don't think of it as wrap.
Uh-oh. Kathy, you went away. Well, when you come back, we'll carry on with that discussion. Meanwhile, Fatima has her hand up. Or am I frozen? Oh, I'm frozen. Oh, no.
The Norwegian style. I must see he's back. No, Frank.
You're on mute.
There we are.
Was it something said, Frank?
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened to the Wi-Fi in this house. It was just installed yesterday and I was worried that it wouldn't be reliable, but I don't know what just happened. Anyway, I reconnected using my phone hotspot, so that seems to be working.
You're not mad then, right?
I'm not mad. No, I didn't go
Not
away.
anymore.
Now let's see. I think it was Kathy who was saying something when I suddenly disappeared.
Yeah. And then Jason was the one that had talked about Arne and Carlos, and he uses it too. And that's what he was talking about when you were offline.
Oh, well, Jason, would you like to repeat what you said?
The Norwegian style is very similar to continental. It's just that the Norwegians put their left index finger onto the left needle, and they just pick the yarn up off their finger.
Oh,
It's the same exact as continental, and I used to have trouble with my tension. I've only been knitting for 6 years, crocheting for 21, and when I started doing the Norwegian style, that fixed my tension problem.
Oh, that sounds like a very similar solution because it will wrap the tip rather than the barrel if you do that.
Yeah, because when you're picking the yarn right off the finger, you're using just the tip.
That's right. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jason. So Fatima, your hand is up.
Yes, I would like to ask you why, what makes the difference exactly? What involved in the technique just to involve on the tips or on the barrel? So what is really the difference?
I think the difference the best I could figure out after the fact. When it fixed my knitting, I had to come up with a theory as to why that worked. I thought that the size of the barrel controlled, I mean, it's true, the size of the barrel controls the size of the stitch. That's why larger needle sizes produce, fewer stitches per inch. And I thought that that measurement happened when you wrapped it. But there's so much movement after you wrap it, when you pull it through and then pull it off. There's all sorts of opportunity to put in different amounts of the yarn as you're doing all of that. If you just wrap the tips, you haven't provided enough yarn for the stitch. It's going to have to get more yarn. And when does it do that? It does it after you pulled it through on the tips and then push the needle all the way through the new loop. When you push the needle all the way through the new loop onto the barrel, that's when the amount of yarn gets measured for that stitch.
Okay, thank you.
Suzanne actually has a good video on that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's got some wonderful tension videos, especially if you're having trouble getting tension when you're purling. You give it just a little extra tug after you get it up onto the right needle.
Yes. That makes a big difference.
Oh, and then Heather said something in the Master's Day too, which I thought was good. I'd never really thought about it before. And I don't think I have ever done that, but she mentioned make sure your needles are always touching, because as soon as you pull that back needle away, you're going to mess up your tension as well there.
You're right. You're pulling yarn out when you pull them too far apart.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now Bradley's hand is up.
Yes, I had a question. It's just a general question, not necessarily for the Phrancko sweater, but I thought you guys might know. I'm a fairly new knitter, and so I'm familiar with blocking, and I've always done wet blocking, but I keep hearing people talk about steam blocking, and I was wondering if y'all knew. I mean, I've heard people talk about steam blocking, something that is a work in progress, and I would like to be able to do that, but I don't know how to steam block.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
I only steam block. I only steam block.
Get out.
Rarely wet block.
So what, I mean, do you,
Jason's anxious to say something.
do you use a steamer? I'm assuming. I don't know.
Carlos did a video on that. What they do is they take their work and you wet a dish towel.
Okay.
Bring it out, having it damp, and you can then put that on top of your work and then put the iron on top of the damp cloth. That protects your work.
Okay.
And it pushes the steam through the cloth.
Okay.
But you just press gently like this.
Yes.
That's what I grew up doing. I never knew about wet blocking until I was in my 40s. So, I think things change over time.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm like Jason. I've crocheted all my life. Just recently picked up knitting, so I'm familiar with blocking and all that, but just had never done steam blocking, and I didn't know is there a problem with doing it with acrylic? Because my next sweater I'm planning on doing an acrylic and nylon, and I didn't know about putting steam to
Well,
that.
to be honest, acrylic and nylon don't block well at all. In fact, blocking may make no difference whatsoever.
Well, I've noticed, and I swatched it because I'm getting ready to do a scoop neck. And I've blocked my swatch twice and it still looks bumpy.
Yep, that's
So-
right. Because if you think about it, wool is natural hair. And you know how you can put your hair in curlers when it's wet and then it dries, it's still curled. The hair retains the shape that it was set in. But if you took a piece of plastic string and wound it around something and wet it and dried it, it'd still go out straight as soon as you took it
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
So nylon and acrylic, artificial fibers don't block, if it
Okay.
makes any difference at all.
Mhm.
Many people don't block things that are made of those.
Yeah.
And then you have the other problem with steam blocking. If you're using a steam iron, you can
Uh-huh.
accidentally overheat it and melt the plastic. I mean, it's really plastic. That's
Yeah.
what acrylic is.
So I have an actual steamer, like a garment,
Oh,
a
do you?
small little
Yeah.
garment steamer. Can you use that to steam block? That way you don't have to
We'll
worry
have to
about
tell you.
pressing.
I only use a steam iron, and
Okay.
I lay the garment down flat. I put a piece of protective cloth over it, like a thin cotton cloth.
Mhm.
And I do not touch the cloth with the iron. I hold it anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch above, just so that the steam goes through the cloth into the
Okay.
fabric.
Okay.
But another thing I will do to make it a little more, I don't know, to block it a little bit more, is I take a very fine mister spray that
Mhm.
just sprays mist, and I dampen the whole thing,
Mhm.
and then put the cloth across it, and then
Okay.
I steam it with a steam iron, but not touching the cloth.
Uh-huh.
And it heats the fabric up. The whole thing will dry easily in 12 hours instead of 24 or 48 hours if you do complete wet blocking on a thick sweater.
Okay.
So that's
Well,
why I
thank
do
you
it.
guys. I'm gonna try it.
Lots of people have lots of different ways and techniques. So you have something like that, you'll get a dozen suggestions.
For the blocking, however you do it, though, you need to support the fabric. This is Cindy. You don't want to like hang it. It will pull the fabric down.
Okay.
So you need to have it supported
Be flat.
on it, be flat, yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Otherwise you'll end up with gorilla arms.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how I know.
Well, that's how I have to do my store-bought sweaters, because I have very long arms. So I make sure I kind of make sure I hang them so they all
Hang them so they kind of like pull down.
Run.
Hi.
Right.
I twisted wrong. Okay. I do use my garment steamer to steam block.
Good.
But I'm
I'm
still
glad somebody
walking
could
in.
suggest that.
And this is my best friend for blocking swatches. Like any
Okay.
of quilts.
Yeah.
It's a quilters cut and press. They sell them at like mass market, big box
Uh-huh.
craft stores. They're marked with an inch grid. When I was doing my MHK swatches, like this is invaluable to me
Yeah.
because it's on a marked grid. You can pin them out if you're aiming for a certain size, and then you steam right onto them, and they dry. You can see there's like I store it with pins in it. So my quilters cut and press I use all the
That's a
time
good
for
idea.
blocking
Yeah.
swatches either for the shop or swatches that I'm doing for something. But generally I wet block everything with the exception of things with a lot that are predominantly ribbing or garter stitch. Those I steam block because you can blow them up by wet blocking. If it's a garment, I'll still wet block because you're gonna need to wash it. Like you should probably find out what happens to it when you get it wet. But for things like cows, hats, things with a lot of ribbing, things that are made predominantly of garter stitch, you can accidentally double them in size by wet blocking them and then laying them out. So I find steam blocking invaluable for that. And I do use the garment steamer when I steam block. I've got one at home, I've got one at the shop. I don't keep an iron at the shop. I don't know.
I have a question for you, Ron. Does the steam blocker block, I mean, does it work if the fabric is flat on the surface?
Yeah.
Or does it have to be horizontal? I
It
thought
works.
they were-
I've got a little handheld steamer,
Yeah,
a little reservoir in it, and it works just fine blocking flat
works
things.
like an iron.
Yeah. For things that are particularly dense, you might need to turn it over and get the back
Mhm.
and then get the front and then put it somewhere to dry. But I've only ever had to do that with pieces of double knitting.
I see.
I've never had a problem with, and for like garments in progress, things like that. Yeah, the garment steamer works very, very well for me. And regarding the blocking of acrylic,
Mhm.
I think this is why many people who are newer to the crafts are often skeptical of blocking and say they never do it because they don't see the point. If you're using mostly synthetic yarns, the truth is there is no point because it really is not doing anything other than cleaning your thing after you've worked on it, which you probably should do if you're have sweaty hands like I do. But really, what comes off the hook or the needle is where the garment is going to stay. Although some people do something where they slightly overheat their acrylics to do something called killing them.
Oh, I've done that before in crocheting. I did a
How'd it
scarf.
Oh,
It did beautifully. I don't know if y'all heard of it. It's Vanna's Glamour,
Oh yeah,
and it has that little metallic.
yeah.
So I killed the acrylic, and that's what they said to do. Just take the iron and literally iron
Yeah.
it.
And
And it
that
came
works.
out super drapey. I wouldn't want to do it on a sweater, but
It works for microfiber acrylics, and you can get good results with microfiber acrylics. For normal, like budget line acrylics, don't do it to your red heart. You will just get like hot glue strings. It won't matter.
right.
And it doesn't work at all with polyester.
Okay.
And some yarns are polyester blends.
Okay.
And it won't do a thing to them except for make a weird smell. But so very fine acrylics, more sort of high-end acrylics, because there are absolutely high-end acrylics out there. Killing them, which is an unfortunate name for what you're doing. I'm glad you have an experience where that worked out for you. But always swatch that when you try, because you can also just ruin it.
Yeah.
You just literally kill it and now it's dead. Sorry.
Yeah.
But those are my two. My quilt and press, love it for swatching.
Okay.
Love it so much. I use my garment steamer, my steam block, and
You use blocking pads for larger things, don't you?
I do.
Does everybody know what blocking pads are? Interlocking squares of blocking material?
Like they put them on garage floor or like gym floors.
Yeah. Okay.
Kids' rooms.
Going
I
to
block
make
on
this up in case
styrofoam.
I scream when I get up.
Oh,
Who just said they block on styrofoam?
Emily,
Hi, Emily. I haven't
Hi.
seen you here.
I know.
Come in.
Yeah.
I see. Hi.
Hi.
You block on styrofoam, huh?
Yeah, someone told me about that, but I just got a bunch of pieces of it at the hardware store, and I can build it out to be as big as I need it. You know, they're this wide by about this long, you know. They're meant for insulation or something like that, but pins, you know, I wet block, but I'm definitely going to try steam blocking. That sounds great.
Yeah, I think what I do is kind of a mix of two different styles, which are spray blocking and steam blocking. Those are two different things. And I spray it and steam it. And that,
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to try that.
Well, would you like to see sweater progress? Are we at that point?
absolutely. Yes. I'm always interested in sweater progress.
Well, let's see if we can even make out what I'm doing here. Okay, so I finished the body. It's done.
Oh, good.
There's my monolithic bind off.
Mm.
You want like I was gonna throw my shoulder out doing this. Because this is fully 57 inches
Wow.
around. Like it's an oversized sweater for me. So it was
Now-
a lot of this.
I have a question for you. You're talking about doing the invisible rib bind off, right?
Yes,
Or the
yeah.
kitchen or whatever you want to call it. How long a thread do you start with? 4 times the circumference, or 5 or 6?
I generally start with just not quite enough. Yeah.
And it's hard to know how much that is, isn't it?
Well, I mean, instinctively, I'm very good at it. Just like, I'm going to make sure I pull off enough to get all but the last 4 inches done.
Well, the
This
reason
time
I ask is I always carefully measure out 5 times the circumference, and then I have a
It's too
lot of
much.
time left over.
Yeah,
But
do
I'm
3
afraid
times.
to do 4
This time I-
times the circumference, which what everybody says you should do, but I'm afraid I'll come up short. So I know I
I
would
did
hate
4
to come
this
up
time.
short.
I do
But
3 times and is enough for me.
3.
I
No,
generally
we
do.
split splice.
I
Yes,
generally do
Yes, we
3
could.
times plus change.
you
Like, I
do.
did 3 and then a little extra. This time I did fully 4, and I can show you where like I had to splice in new yarn.
Oh, Ron.
I got
You did
This is-
4 and it wasn't enough.
this
I'm
is
gonna
where I
do
had to
5.
splice in new yarn.
Oh,
Oh, just a
normally I
tiny
do.
bit.
Poof.
Luckily there it's marled, so
Yeah.
I ended the red yarn earlier than I needed to, so I wouldn't change them both at the same time. But
Mm.
yeah, I had like this much left to do. I ran
And
out.
for my last Frank sweater that I made picot cast on, and I joined exactly in a kitchen stitch, all was 250 stitches or so, and I did three times, and I still have a little bit of leftover.
Wow. I know
Nevertheless, it's a
3 times
lot,
wouldn't
but
be enough for me.
That's-
yeah.
I,
Not so much out, but we don't need so much, because even I had trouble because that yarn is bamboo and cotton, and it's not very much twist the yarn, and at some point they become in a very bad state. But I thought that I need to cut and start again, but not work until the end. But I need 3 times normally.
I see.
you can also see the finishing that I'm working on. I'm putting on the button band now and the shawl collar to reward myself for doing the whole body.
Yeah.
I was like, can I just make myself do the sleeves now? No, I can't. I'm going to do the button band and the collar. So I'm doing horizontal buttons.
Oh,
Oh,
So I'm
interesting.
going to have a lot of tails to weave in, but it's going to have a very wide button band because I'm a very wide gentleman. And so this is about half the length that the button band is going to be.
mhm.
And so that's where my buttonholes will end. And then I just finished the short rows for the shawl collar.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh,
I love that yarn, Ron.
Yeah, that
really
It's
is
a lot of fun. I like it as well. So I've literally just done the last short row while we've been here, and I'm gonna go down and connect all the button band and do 8 more rows of garter stitch, probably an Icelandic bind off. And next week I'll be here complaining about doing sleeves.
But you'll
loving
have
doing
the
the
collar and the
button
button band done.
I'm having so much fun doing the button band. But, ooh, short rows. After a mile and a half of stockinette, I'm ready for short rows.
yeah.
Oh, and it is literally a mile. I measured, thought, I'm just gonna figure out. So it's 5,280 feet. or 1,780 yards in a mile. So for sure, this sweater will have a mile,
Yeah,
maybe 2 miles of yarn in it.
Oh my.
yeah.
Let's
So
see your
the knitting
sweater,
will make
Bradley.
up for all the miles I didn't run in high school.
I can't run a mile, but I can knit a mile.
Today, I can't walk 3 feet, so.
Bradley, hold it up so we can see it.
Oh, okay, so it's upside down.
Of course,
But
that's the way we knit them.
yes.
Oh, it's looking great.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Are you doing welting on the shoulder and down the arm?
I am.
Correct?
Yes, on the
I remembered.
the
Oh,
saddle
yeah.
shoulder.
Oh,
Oh, neat.
oh, that's
Love it.
great.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love welting. It's one of those like low investment, but pretty dramatic. It's so interesting. I
What
love
is
it.
it? What does
It's
it mean?
very easy. I was gonna show the increases. Can y'all see that?
Oh,
on the
yeah,
slide?
look at that.
Yeah,
Very
that's a make one. But I did want to block the top of it because it's a bit, I don't know.
Stuff a towel in it, roll up a towel and steam block it.
Okay, I'll try that. But yeah, it's coming along.
Ron,
Somebody,
Ron,
yes.
I hope your back feels better by
So do
next
I.
week.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. How long have you had this back pain this week?
It's been getting incrementally worse for the last couple. It's been twingy for about a week. And
Oh,
then the last couple, like as soon as I couldn't call my doctor because it was the weekend, it was like, ha ha ha,
yes, that's right.
now I got you. Wait until Monday.
Oh, dear. Well, we're sorry to hear that. We
I'm
feel
glad
for
I
you.
got, folks I can trust at the shop. So I just came out this morning and said, I'm not going to work. Have fun. And they're handling it.
Well, we are right at the end. Does anybody else have a sweater to show us before we go? I see Jenny. Hold on, let me spotlight you so we can all see it.
Yep, hold on. Just turn it round. So it's coming along now.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, look.
Oh, I
at
like how the
that.
color
Oh,
changes.
look at the
Yeah.
color. Oh, that's
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's getting there. So I'm about just about halfway down the body now, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then the yarn goes from yellow through to blue. So it should end up in a deep blue at the bottom.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Doing the sleeves at the same time, so I shouldn't get too bored.
Very pretty, though. Very pretty.
Oh,
It's
that's beautiful,
gorgeous.
Jenny. Thank you for sharing that.
Jenny, did you reserve a matched color for the collar?
Yes, I reserved some of the first bit for the collar. Yes, yeah. I'm going to do a double knitted collar. So and as you pick up the stitches, I'm going to pick one up at the front and one at the back at the same time, all the way around, and then do some double knitting and then a kitchener bind off.
Mhm. I can't wait to see.
Beautiful.
Anybody else, real quick?
Well, I just wanted, Jenny, when you get to the neckline and you're doing the double knitting, will you share that with us one of these
Yes.
weeks? Okay, thanks.
I'll be a couple of weeks, but yeah.
Bye, everyone.
It was
Okay.
great
Bye,
spending
Ron.
time with
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good week,
Bye.
and I'll see you
Bye,
next.
Frank. Thank
See you
you.
next week.